So today I will be explaining how I did this effect with the cursors following each other, like following a path. And then I will also be selling uh, this project file, the the one with the windows bouncing around, like the feedback effects and all that. But in this tutorial, I will only be explaining how I did this effect with the cursor. So to start, let's first create the setup, like the render. So create a render and a camera. I will make this orthographic, and on the bottom left, and the width, it's 1. So I will split the view to get a better look on the result and put this on panel. I will change the project to be a square format, and then the render the same thing. So now we can start building. So we will need a panel chop to get the mouse data. So we will select the role U and role V. And then we will need a trail to record where the mouse has been. So you can all see that it's like a recording. We will also need to define how many cursors that we want to have. So I will make a constant, and let's name this cursors, and I will start with 20, and then this will be the length too. So you need to change this to samples, and then use this value. So now it's only 20 samples. Now if we use this as a chop, let's actually change this to dx and dy. Then you can see the geometry. But we will actually use instances. So we can create a rectangle, then geometry, can scale this a bit using a transform. Give it some color, and then we will use this data on the instances. So turn on the instance and use this as a default instance operator, and then dx and dy like this. Now I will use an image, and it's just like a regular mouse. You can look it up on like Google Images or something. And it needs to be a square, so we'll use a fit, and also turn on the transparency. Just you can add a color after the render, so use a transform, like a gray, turn on the alpha, this. Now I actually want it to like always point to the top, so you can use you can rotate it here, something like this. It's always pointing at the top. You can scale it a little more. So now to get the effect of them like following each other and rotating, and not always like pointing at the top, use a slope to do that. So turn off the time slice and use it as a previous and next sample. Now only on the TX value divide this one, and this. As TX to can merge it together again. And use chop to convert it back to a geometry. And then if we turn on the normals, you can see that it's displaying where to go. You can use a facet to make the normals the same length. I don't know if it helps or not, but I often use that, so I'll leave it there. We will then use this, convert it to a SOP, and we need to execute a script, so let's create a that execute, and then use this here, create a text for the script, and let's say like every time the table changes, it will run this operator. So every time this table changes, it will execute the script that I will put here. This will be the script. You can find this on the description. Basically, we'll convert the normal data to something we can use to rotate the cursors. So now we have an input table, which is this sub that we created. We need to change the name. So sub to one, this operator. And then we need to create a table one. So make sure it has the same name. So now you can see that it's calculating the rotation. Now we can use this table for the instance rotation. Then just select, and yeah, that's basically it. We can change something. So to make the cursors like more random, we can use noise and make these as samples and use again this value here. And here we will, so you can see that here it has 20 samples, but here it has 21. So just subtract one. Then you can play with the noise. And if we mix these two together, so we actually need two channels, the TX and TY. And then you add them together. We need to decrease a little this. And we can even go further, and instead of making random points uh, following the path like this, we can make it like this. Use the same steps. So if you multiply them, you can make the the path to be like slower. It's If you use a resample here, but now it creates this problem that if you use this resample, it changes the values, the steps, and so if we change the steps, it doesn't. It gives this error on the instances. So a trick that I found was to convert this back, convert this to a det. It has 20 samples. You put the names and then convert back to a det, to a chapter. Make it channel per column. First row is names and values. And then it again has 20 samples. It's a little bit laggy, so you can just use a lag here to smooth out like this. If you use a smaller value, so you can use 12, slower. If you use a higher value, it's faster to follow. You can also use a lag here to smooth the rotation. And increase some values. And yeah, that's it.